Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. My name is Portia Monique, and today we have a fabulous guest by the name of Ariel Fitz-Patrick. She's a singer, songwriter, and a creator who is captivating millions with her fun take and relatable take on faith. Known as Ariel Fitz, her viral skits have amassed over 3 million followers in just a year, making the Bible more engaging than ever. Please welcome the incredible Ariel Fitzpatrick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I always like to take it back to learn more about who we're talking to, right? So what is your origin story? How did you get started with singing gospel and then land on one of the hottest gospel labels out there, Motown recording? And then how did you parlay that into becoming a content creator as well?
Um, an interesting story. So I started off, like my parents are pastors, so I grew up in church. And like I always say, like you don't really get asked to go into the choir. You are put in the choir. You gotta sing in the Sunday school choir. You gotta sing in the church choir. Like all that. So
Yeah.
like music became very like normal and very integrated in my life at a very, very young age. My dad is also a musician. He's playing every single Sunday. My mother was a praise and worship leader. So music was very, very normal. And I fell in love with it at a very young age. I knew that, this is something that I want to do. This is something that I love doing. And first it starts off out of obligation and eventually it just kind of grew into like passion. It grew into like, I actually love this for myself. It grew into, wow, I can do this for hours and then never get bored. And, eventually I was like, by the time I was probably like 10, I'm going to be a singer. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to sing. And, as time went on, I really focused on that part. Eventually I ended up singing with my sister, my older sister. We sang on this duet and we would sing around the city from church to church. And that just became something that like I loved. And I was like, oh, I just want this to be even bigger, God. Like, this is my dream. And during that process, I also got introduced to social media a little bit. I was never into it as a child or a teenager. Even in high school and college, I didn't have social media like that. But by the time I got to my first year of college, I was like so inspired by a bunch of YouTubers and stuff. I always like cameras and I love media stuff. It always interested me. So I decided to start my first YouTube channel with my sister. And that was my first taste of social media. So it kind of like my first goal was always music. And then like my second huge interest was this social media thing where, you can have your own channel and stuff like that. And it's funny how God kind of worked where it's like he allowed me to go through the path of social media, being a content creator for things that I never thought I would do. I never thought I would do comedy. I never thought that I would do like funny content. I even started off doing hair, so like the whole funny thing was so new to me in 2020 and more 2021. And that is what really like took off. And I kind of was like, okay, well, I guess this is what I got to do. And then, that desire to no, I really want to sing. Like, that's what I really want to do. I don't want to give up on this. It came back strong. And then, eventually that is what led me to going back into the studio, back into singing, writing my first song, one of my first songs, which is called God Love, getting into the studio, releasing it, and then getting to the point of a label, hearing it and being like, we like this. We want to work with her. And then everything has just been rolling since then. So God has just been really good with that.
I love that for you. And so, as would you say, as a singer and coming from, a church household, would you say that singing came naturally to you, or was it something that you had to work at?
It came very naturally to me. I never was like exposed to this culture of like training and going to school and like music was such a natural thing. It was just like you go to church, you sing.
Hmm. Hmm.
As I got older, then I got exposed to like this can actually be something that you're trained in. This is something you
Yeah.
could actually become better at. And yeah, so like that's how it initially was just natural. And
Yeah.
eventually I was like, I actually want to get like really good at this thing.
Mhm. And then what about social media, right? So you said you started out doing the hair videos and then you kind of went to being funny, right? So were you naturally funny? Was that something that came natural to you, or did you discover you were actually funny?
It's something that it was both. So basically, I never saw myself as a funny person, like ever. I never saw that. But speaking to some other people who knew me for years, just doing like the singing thing, I remember one of like the first people I worked with in like the music arena. I was talking to him and I was like, "Isn't it crazy that this is what happened?" And he was like, "Honestly, Ariel is like, I worked for you. I worked with you for a few years." He's like, "I always saw that in you. Like that, what you're doing now." He's like, "You've always been like that. It's just that I never thought that you would bottle it, and like kind of put it out there." And my
Yeah,
parents
yeah,
would say the same. They're like, "You've always been like that. It's just that it was never like a,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it came naturally, but then at the same time, it was like, oh, okay, I could actually, this is something who I am too that I could develop, whatever."
yeah. I love that for you. Now, your videos are known for sharing the message of the Bible in a fun way, right? In a relatable manner. How did that come about? How did you focus on, I want to tell the stories of the Bible, have them be relatable, and then, have it be in a fun way as well?
Yeah, actually, like I would say in the beginning, it was so unintentional. I knew I was going on TikTok. I had a plan to start it because this was like my last just try at this social media thing. It was like my last try. And I didn't know what kind of content I was going to create, but I really went into like I took it seriously. I was like, I'm going to pray. I'm going to fast. Like, I really just like, I was like, God, I need you to speak to me. Because it was more about purpose for me. Like, I couldn't figure out my purpose at the time. So when I went into TikTok, it was because I was trying to figure out why I was here. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
And I believe through that prayer, through that fasting and saying, God, I'm going to try this. All I want is that you receive the glory from whatever I do. I thought I would end up doing, I don't know, maybe like reaction videos or maybe fashion or something.
yeah.
I believe God just let it so naturally
Mm,
where when I eventually I was doing all stuff. I was doing room tour, I was doing pop like reaction videos, I was doing different things because I was trying to figure out what my niche was. And then I was like, I did a video with God and Angel, and like it was so funny to me. I did it, and then that was the video that actually started doing well. And I was like, oh, that was fun. I didn't think anything huge, but I'm like, that was fun. I'm gonna do that again. And I
yeah.
did it again, I did it again and again. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this, people love this, and it just kept growing from that.
Yeah, it felt good. It felt
It
good. I
felt
love
good.
that for you. So, as an influencer who is completely sold out for Jesus, right? So, how do you think that adds to your influence and your impact?
I think it helps reach a generation that has been, like, I guess, assumed to be unreachable. Not to everyone, but I was actually shocked with the amount of youth pastors that hit me up. I never expected any of this from my videos. I didn't think that youth pastors would be like, I need Ariel's advice on this. Or
Yeah.
like, I need to know how on earth is she reaching my youth? Why are they
Mhm.
watching her? What's going like I didn't realize the impact. And my dad was one to help me realize, like, yeah, Ariel, you're doing more than just funny videos. He's like, to you, this is funny videos that no one's gonna take seriously. But he's like, you're actually bringing people's attention in a way that is tapping into a like the way the generation thinks, how we
Yeah.
operate. And it's just relatable. It's like I'm not trying to come up here and act like I'm perfect, but I'm also
Hmm.
not trying to act like doing wrong is okay just because I'm imperfect.
Right.
So it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's reaching that, like, it's just realistic. I think sometimes people overthink what young people want. It's like we don't want sugar coated, like, don't baby them into it. They want to be told, like, no, that was wrong, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
right. Like, this is what we're going to do instead. So I think that's just like, it's just that realness, the realness that I wanted as a teen. So I think that's why I just relate so well.
Yeah. And so speaking of that, right? So transparency in your skits is very important, right, to you. Why
Mhm.
is that important in terms of just being very clear, very transparent, making sure that you hit home with the points that you want to hit home with?
Because the facade has been presented for so long, like a facade of this is what a Christian looks like.
Yes.
This is what Christianity looks like. As soon as you walk into Christianity, it's like everything just like yes, you transform. Jesus transforms you. But sometimes it's good to show that process of transformation because I could say honestly, like fully, that I have experienced God transforming me and literally making me become better. And then I make the dumbest mistake the next day. Like I would do like the dumbest thing. And it's like, why on earth would you do that, Ariel? Like, that makes no sense. But then God comes back and says, oh, well, yeah, that wasn't it. But here we go. Let's like start this forming it. It's like an ongoing everyday thing. And I grew up, I would say, in the culture of if you make a mistake, oh my goodness, like that's it. Like you're a terrible
Mhm.
sinner. I think that's why the transparency, sorry, is so important.
Yeah, I love that, love that, love that. Now I want to pivot a bit, right? So you are performing at the All Star Gospel Celebration during All Star Weekend in the Bay. Tell us about it. What does it feel like to be performing on a faith-based platform and kicking off All Star NBA Weekend?
It feels so amazing because for one, I did not even know that there was a faith-based platform during such an amazing weekend. And just knowing that it's even a thing is so exciting. It's like there is a gospel show during this time. And on top of it, I have the honor and the privilege to actually be a part of it
Yeah.
as like one of my first trips to like, San Francisco. And to me, it's just like it- I'm just so excited. And I feel so humbled by it. I feel so grateful. I feel so much like, God, are you serious? That's what you want? That's what you're doing? Type thing. I'm really excited. And I feel like anytime I'm placed in an area, like wherever God opens a door, whether or not I feel like it's random or huge or crazy, I'm like, okay, God, so you actually have a reason for me to be here. I mean, I see it yet. Please show it to me. But I know you put something in me that needs to come out. And whoever I'm supposed to reach there on that specific weekend, on such an amazing and iconic weekend, I'm like, Lord, I'm just so humbled to just
Oh,
be a part of that. That's like, it's just so exciting to me. I like I'm saying, I'm never going to forget this experience ever. This is going to live with me for
I
the rest
love
of my
that for
life.
you. And it's only going to get bigger from there, right? So you're only going to keep ascending, keep getting higher, keep getting more opportunities. So again, I really, really love that for you. But this year's theme is a love letter to the Bay. What does that specifically mean for you?
For me, it's just like almost like a confirmation of timing because last year or the times when I was just writing God love and just the past songs that I've released and been focusing on, it's really been around love. And I was like, God, why do I keep writing songs about love? Like, why do I keep ending up with these songs?
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm not trying to be cheesy, like, but this is just like what's coming out of me. Like, what is it? And God was just showing me, like, He was really taking me through that process of learning His love, learning what love really meant, learning what it looks like coming from different avenues, and really understanding that even like just the essence of what God love is like no matter what or how any other love may have failed you, God's love never fails and it always comes, it always heals. It was a story that he wrote for me. And
Mhm.
I think a love letter to the Bay is me the same way it was like God love was my love letter to God. The
Mhm.
fact that I get to perform it is me, that's like my love letter to literally the audience I'll be singing it to, or the entire area that I'm gonna be in. And I'm like, Lord, whatever you want done through this song, again, you are above me, you can see beyond me. Lord, let that message of love and what you really are be conveyed.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want when I'm there, it's like, this is my love letter to God, but now let this be something that's gonna help and impact others too.
Yes, yes, and yes. And so, one last question on that, because I just have to know, will you be singing something new or something familiar? Mix of both. What you gonna be singing?
Yeah, I'm gonna be singing a mix of both. So God Love was my first single, so I'm gonna be singing that. And I'm also gonna sing one of my latest releases.
Okay, okay, I
Yeah.
love that. Any upcoming music for you that you can kind of tease us with what you're working on?
Yes, I got a lot of new music coming. I got a whole project coming this spring. I'm gonna be releasing some singles and then I'm gonna release like a whole project. So I'm really, really, really excited for everybody to hear the new music that I have on the way. I've been in the studio, I've been working, and I've been loving it. I've been loving
Yeah.
what I'm hearing. I've been loving what, the whole process. So yes.
And you also are a songwriter, right? So have you been working singing and writing songs? Or are we gonna hear a mixture of both of those on your new music?
Yes, yes, you're gonna hear. I've written on pretty much all of the songs, so I really got to be a part of every. part of this process. So
Yeah,
yes.
I love that. For the new up and coming aspiring songwriters, what would be one specific tip that you would give them in terms of continuing to write and going for their dreams?
I really believe like don't be afraid and don't feel like you're not good enough, because that a lot of times people may make you feel like that, or your own brain like your own thoughts may make you feel
Mhm.
like that. Maybe that was not good or whatever. And I'm learning to just keep writing, because as my mom would like tell me honestly, she's like, or continually, she's like, you know, what you're writing is what God put inside of you. And sometimes we make it so much about us. It's like, well, I don't want it to sound bad. I don't want people to hate what I wrote. And I was like, girl, God is using you.
Right, keep going.
Yeah. And I believe it's like a muscle. I think the more and more you do it, the better and better you get at that. I take that as like a rule of thumb for almost anything. So if you want to get better, keep doing it. So that's why I'm still writing, and that's how I always tell my team, I want to continue writing. I want to learn from other writers. I want to work with other writers. I want to just keep improving.
Yeah, I love that. If you want to write, just keep writing, build that muscle, make sure that you are letting your baby out into the world because God
Mhm.
put it in you for other people to hear and or see. Now, if you could collaborate with any artist, gospel, secular, rock, whatever, who would it be and why?
I've been saying for a minute, I would love to collaborate with artists like Jonathan McReynolds. I always just love his music. I love the way he writes. I love I like how poetic it is. I love it's just beautiful. I think one thing with his music, the reason why I would really want to work with him is because I remember I was kind of going through like this time where I was just anxious all the time for like a solid point of time. And the only thing that would calm me down for whatever reason was putting in his album and just listening to it.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't know, whatever that was. I was just like, I was thankful for it. And I'm like, I would love to work with someone like this. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I love his voice. I love the tone of his voice. Yeah, he's definitely one of those powerhouses. Love, love, love. Okay, last question for you.
Mhm.
How do you balance it all? Right. So you're young, you're beautiful, you write, you do skits, you sing, you obviously were raised right, you have a family life. So, how do you manage it all in terms of being a social media influencer, a musician, and a content creator while also staying true to your faith?
I have a great village. Like I would say, like my mother, she's like my rock. God is my everything, but I know he gave my mother to me as my rock. She keeps me grounded. She keeps me focused. She keeps her eyes on me. And she's like one person that I know, if no one else is watching, if no one else cares, she does. And she looks around and she'd be like, okay, sometimes I feel like I got things under control, or sometimes I really feel overwhelmed. And she's like, you know what, you need to focus on this a little bit more. Oh, I see you're a little bit stressed. You need to relax. You need to, focus more on leisure, or you need to focus more on work. She's actually the one who got me back into writing around the time I did God Love. She was one like, it's time for you to start back writing. You put that down, you need to pick it back up. So it's really having that village. My dad is always looking out for me. My siblings are always looking out for me. They pray for me, they support me. They're always just having those eyes. It really helps me feel comfortable that even if I'm going off, even if I'm a little bit off balance, they're gonna bring me back. So my family is God's gift to me, and then that's how I keep my sanity.
I love that for you. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate you. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time. Drop your handles. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you? And then specifically, when is your new music dropping?
The dates are tentative, but it's
Okay.
coming soon. It's coming soon. As soon as
Okay.
I have a solid date, I will release it on my socials. So you
Perfect.
can follow me on all of my socials on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook at Ariel Fitz-Patrick or Ariel Fitz. Either way, you will find me. I try to keep both names there. So yeah, anywhere you can just type in my name, you'll find me on those platforms.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And we will stay tuned for your new music because we know it's going to be fire.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.